God, good shadow going on the back of my head there.
Yeah, but it's a handsome shadow.
You know what? It's something new. Why not? They'll say, this is the episode where Ryan's lighting went downhill. Man. My mom's just gonna be like, why did you put that shadow there? She won't say that. But now I know she'll at least get a smile and a laugh because I mentioned her. Hi, Mom. LA5, how are you, my friend?
KG3. Quite delightful. In fact, I would say even rad. So
Ooh.
I have told you that I've been tracking my days now for probably over 240, 230 days, where I rank it out of 5
Oh, wow. Yes, that's right.
on a journaling app.
Yes.
And my best streak so far for 5 out of 5 would be in July, August, transition of, because I got 10 days of rad.
Ooh.
And that was the longest streak that I've had since then. But that streak has now been enhanced to 12 and looks like today's going to be number 13.
So what was it in the summer that gave you such a rad time for 10 days straight? And then
Well,
what is it that is now that has given you a near close to 13-day streak? Please, let's hear it out.
the original 10 days was the implementation of that visualization technique of seeing yourself smiling.
Wonderful. That makes sense.
And that was done every 4 minutes. Actually, every 3 minutes was when my timer would go off. And it was pretty effective. But then it just, one of those days, I was just tired. I was fatigued. I wasn't really there mentally. And I'm like, I feel good, but I'm not overflowing. I'm not rad. It's got to be a 4. I can't justify this as a 5. And so the streak was over and it ended. And since then, I found myself actually struggling with that technique a little bit to keep on revisiting it.
Oh.
For whatever reason, it felt strange that I couldn't just go back to it and start implementing it again for whatever reason. It's like I was being blocked. But so I kind of just let that go and I tried different variations of it. Like, for example, there's a verse that says, be eager to validate that you are living your salvation life. Because if you do this, you'll never stumble, and the gates of heaven will open before you as your life is choreographed by the Father. And I'm like, well, that sounds awesome. Let's take that concept and do that every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm going to find one little piece of evidence to suggest that I'm living my best life. So it was like a gratitude practice kind of a thing. And it was kind of good because I could get to the place where I'd feel a little bit of genuine gratitude for whatever it is. Like, for example, my alarm goes off and I'm in the process of making a cappuccino. And I would think, how amazing is it that I have a cappuccino maker at my house that just pops out these incredible coffees that I can just consume on demand at any time. Like, how many people did it take to build this thing? How many man hours went into this just so I could enjoy my cappuccinos? And I would find, like, clearly that's a really good gift. And so I'd find little things like that as you get prompted throughout the day, but it wasn't ever really enough to really catch fire to the point where I get into that perma-smile state where I just can't stop smiling. My face is just kind of fixated with one corner of my mouth just curled up. And that's how I know something's working, is when I can get into that state. And so that's what has been happening in these last 12 days. And there is one distinguishing factor that I was missing out on when it came to the actual technique of seeing myself smiling. And what that factor seems to be, so far anyway, that has been the missing component, was I see myself smiling, so I see myself with joy, but I also see myself thinking to myself, thank you, Father. Thank you for this moment. I see myself worshiping in spirit. And as I do that, that's when I feel that little glow on the inside and it expands.
Well, there it is.
And it happens
not just
every single
happy.
time.
Yeah, not just being in a state of happiness, but being in the state of gratefulness within that happiness.
Exactly.
Yes.
And specifically to the Father, because Jesus said that there's going to be a time, and that time is actually now,
Mm.
where worshipers will worship the Father in truth and in spirit.
Yes.
In spirit and in truth. And so I took that as an understanding of spirit is innermost being. That's what the Greek word that they use for that verse translates to as innermost being. And that's exactly how Jesus said to pray, was to pray in secret from your innermost being. And what you pray in secret, your Father will reward you with openly in your life. And so to worship in spirit is to worship and to say thank you, to praise, to acknowledge, to give credit to all of the greatness in our thought life. Our thought life, our imagination, that's all within the spirit realm. But now to do that in the physical, that's to do it in truth. Our words that we speak, the actions, the thoughts that we think in real time, actions and words would be 100% in the truth because it's actually now being expressed in the physical.
Yes. And
So
words
what I've
are
been
nothing
doing,
without the action.
yeah. So what I was doing was I would see myself smiling, see myself thinking the phrase, "Thank you, Father. Thank you for this." And then once I would feel it, then I would think it, but in real time, in the moment, and emulate exactly what I was just seeing without any effort. It would just automatically translate. So, in that way, I was worshiping in spirit and in truth, but in a very subtle way. But when that was done every 5 minutes, it seemed to have some kind of a compounding effect where it was like compound interest, where it would just grow, 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 and then eventually would become exponential. And it'd be so incredibly easy just to see myself. Like I can do it right now. In fact, I am doing it right now as I'm speaking. I'm looking at my facial expression as if it's a third person camera, and I'm thinking of myself, thinking the phrase, "Thank you, Father," as I'm actually talking. And then I can feel that have an uplifting effect as if I'm catching an updraft when I'm flying an airplane. All of a sudden, just the elevation goes up like that. And there's no effort on the airplane, it just happens automatically. And so there's this boosting effect that takes place, and it feels like energy life force. And so that's been super cool because that seemed to be the missing component is I wasn't specifically crediting our Father for it. And that's what it all leads to, because that's what Jesus said. There's going to become a time when people, the worshipers, are actually going to be worshiping the Father in spirit and in truth. And in the end, that's what everything leads to. Jesus takes the entire world, he takes the kingdom, and he gives it to the Father so that the Father is everything to everyone. So if that's where everything is leading to, then that's where the set heading point can point towards as a momentary trajectory. And that seems to be the most rewarded attitude or trajectory.
Well, being in a state of gratefulness it is the best state to be in because yeah, I mean, if you worded it so eloquently that yeah, I have nothing to say on it. It's just that's correct. That's correct.
That is correct.
Yeah. I was on set today, and I was talking with one of the fellow actors, and when we brought up the topics of religion and stuff of that nature, and he was very adamant on the fact that he's like I believe it will be in our lifetime that Jesus will return, and that we are already in Revelations, and like we're seeing things play out right now, and those who are connected to Jesus and the Father will be the ones saved and go forward. And he's like, but you have to truly know him. And I was saying to him, I I do to say I do my best every day to emulate Jesus would be a lie. I know that in my heart. Like I want to. Whenever I think Jesus and love and the Father, I think, yes, that is what is correct. That what feels right. That what just is what the present moment should require. And yet, I also still know my animalistic, sinful nature is ever present and ever
Mm.
guiding me towards uh, just the carnal world. And I think to myself, like, I don't want to be I love Jesus, and just like every day I thank him for his presence and his love. but at the same time, I want to walk with him, and at the same time, I feel like I disappoint him at all times. Even though I know he says like it's just like you're already forgiven, I still feel like every time
Mm.
like it's just like I have so much to work on that once I it's like I almost feel yeah, I feel like I have so much to work on that to say that I walk with him is almost an insult to him. And I don't know how to almost fully express that feeling without you know, and I don't mean this in a way of being scared of the afterlife, but almost a little bit of fear, you know, like or it's just like I fear it's just like it's kind of like when you like it's like when you know you've done something that your parents aren't happy about. Yeah, it's that type of feeling where you're just like I'm sorry. And
I
as
can
I say
understand.
that, I'm not doing anything like deplorable, but you know, those little like there's moments throughout the day that where it's just like, did I handle that correctly? Am I acting properly? Is this
Mm.
about my own egotistical intentions, or is this about something deeper that maybe I need to truly work on? I don't know, but yeah. So like, it was quite the interesting conversation we had on set, but it was one
Hmm.
that just it was one that ended with you know, just a very positive note of no matter what, it's you go to Jesus, you go to God, and they are always there waiting for you to join them. And
Hmm.
no matter and one of the parables that he brought up was the one of um, the two uh, people outside of the synagogue, and they're like, and the one says, "Yes, I'm giving like all of my purse money to the church today. Make sure as everyone sees it as he drops it in, right?" And then there's the little old lady who can't afford bread that week, but just walks up and puts it in, and does it not for any spectacle or needs to say to everyone, "See, I'm giving what I like at my place. Like this is my bread money. Here it is." She doesn't say anything. She just puts it in because she's doing it through love, where he's doing it through ego. They're still both giving to what they say is yes, this is for the Father, but one is doing it in a way where it's trying to appease the world, where the other is doing it out of love and gratefulness for the Father. And I feel the constant back and forth between those two personalities for sure. The times where I do
Hmm.
things in quiet and I know it just feels right. It's just the right thing to do, so I do it. And then there's the ones where I feel I do something and it's it's almost like the chest comes out and it's kind of like give me the accolade. And it's a funny kind of back and forth between those two. And again, when I do the accolade, the funny thing is I never do it in a way where I like, and this is where I don't think like it's very simply, I don't think I'm a bad person because when I do it too, the one thing that I'm hoping to get out of that more than someone going, "Oh, well done, Ryan," is someone to smile or laugh. Because a lot of times I don't do it through a serious lens where it's just like, yeah, you saw what I just did. It's more of like, you know. So it's just like, or someone's just like, nah, you know, a laugh, a groan, or a smile. If I get one of those three things, I feel like I've done something good.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to spread smiles, make a person
exactly.
feel good? I mean, that sounds like an easy win for some if they have the gift, and that is a gift that you possess and have been given. So why
Oh,
wouldn't you want to use it?
stop it. Yeah, it's one that it swells my heart, and I truly believe it does give other people like that feeling of like maybe they're seen or heard or also because like I guess that's one of the things too is through my idea of like we'll just I keep using this word because I don't know of like going for accolade. One of the things I go through that is wanting to bring everyone in on the accolade, into sharing it more so than um, wanting them to acknowledge it. It's more so I want to share it
Hmm.
and share it in a way where it's just like they feel a part of what I'm doing. Like if it's like, yeah, there's like, yeah, just I just want people to enjoy my successes as much as I'm enjoying it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good heart to me, KG3.
Well, I certainly hope so. uh, I'll tell you, it was a fun weekend. This is the first time that I've worked on a project that is of this scale of someone else's, where I am one of the lead actors, and
Hmm.
not just a lead. I play a pretty repulsive individual,
Oh.
but if it isn't super fun to play.
Ah.
Because it's one of those characters where I get to chew the scenery, and I decided to truly fall into this character and go for it while I'm playing him. And one of the things that I get to have in this one is a cigar. So I have a cigar in my mouth constantly
Classic.
and like blowing smoke. It's just such a, yeah, exactly, such a classic just villain. And just what a fun character to play, where I literally, when they say action, I drop into this. I don't even consider it a mentality, but just it is this weird ego of this character. And maybe that's one
Hmm.
of the things too that is making me feel this way, especially this weekend, is because I'm playing a character who has an overabundance of confidence, but uses it against those around him. He doesn't use it to spread joy. He uses it to get what he wants and cause suffering, essentially.
Oh.
And yeah, just a weasel of a character. And it's interesting to fall into that character, and then they between action and cut, and after cut, I immediately want to make everyone around me laugh and smile and just like enjoy my company, because no one's enjoying the company of this character.
Hmm.
It's an
Well,
interesting
yeah.
one.
So it would be like split personalities then on set.
Yeah, but
It balances out, and then like, okay, yeah, yeah, I could see that how there'd have to be some kind of like a compensation
yeah,
of like if you're gonna like explore that type of a character, then that would just like make you want to balance it out by showing who you actually are on set,
yes, it's
and there
like
would
where it's
just,
just like
yeah, it
I
would be like a
no, please.
like stored energy kind of a thing. Because like you don't act like that typically, especially around people. So as you
Yes.
act like that and people are watching this, the real side of you is going to be like, well, they got to know the real me.
Yeah.
So it's like any opportunity to actually express who you actually are would then be amplified.
Yes. Well, what is your thoughts on the idea that the fact that, and you could it could be just the simple fact that it's like, well, you're acting, so you're pretending. But if you do something on a level where everyone goes, that was good, that's satisfying, like where I had the actress aside from me, or who is uh, my colleague in the show, and I'm just being awful to this individual, to have it where right after the take she's like, I just want to knock you out every single time, but then laughs, and we laugh about it, and just like, and then we can just like move on to just regular convo. But the fact that my the character I'm playing in such a way that I can make her feel that, not just as her character, but also once they say cut, that energy, she's still feeling it.
Mm.
That makes me, it kind of makes me question a little bit, just like the art of acting, because it's and not in necessarily to a negative or a positive, but just in an inquisitive manner, that like the disconnect, because for myself I can disconnect from this character, so it's like while I'm perpetuating the energy of this character while we're rolling, once we say cut, boom, I pull out of it, and I'm just like, nope, I'm done with that, don't want to be part of it. But what I just did is still affecting that individual once we say cut. That is,
Mm.
I almost don't like that.
Understandably so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that gets some actors, like especially the ones that are hardcore method actors and they just will not snap out of the character. They'll just keep it going.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that the longer we express ourselves as something intentionally, we do eventually become that thing.
Mm. Yes.
So with the method acting, if a person is constantly playing the villain just in the art and the discipline of being like, okay, I want to be a really good actor and I really want to bring this character home, so I'm going to dedicate every single day to staying in character at all times.
Mhm.
That probably affects that person's psyche. Who knows how much longer down the road if they stayed there for like 21 days straight, for example.
Yeah.
That would be a habit building at that point.
Yeah.
But if it's periodic, I think that's much less damaging if it's a persona that a person doesn't want to actually embody.
Well, I truly believe it's healthier. That's for sure. Like even learning my lines with this character, it was probably the first time where I didn't do a lot of out loud practicing my lines with anyone else outside of the cast on days that we practice together. And then, of course, days on set. When I was learning my lines, I recorded them and listened to them on loop. And then I would read the lines, but I wouldn't necessarily, and I would say them out loud, but I would say them out loud just in speaking. So it's just like, here's line number one, here's line number two. I wasn't putting any emphasis or emotion on it. I was reading it as if I was reading a book.
Mm.
And I think now that I have been on set while the cameras are rolling and I really like dropped into it, because even in the rehearsals, I was doing a modified version, almost a little more of a campy, comical version of it, where I'm kind of putting a little sarcasm into what I'm doing, just to be like, I'm not being serious because this isn't actually what's gonna be. But once the camera was rolling and we were on set, it did feel like a transition of just, I am now, the character's name is Bowman. I am now Bowman.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just Bowman is now who is here with this dialogue. And then the
And there's
second
a
they say
notable
cut,
shift.
yes.
You could
And it was
feel
a
it, like
shift.
an internal shift.
Yes. It was
Wow.
just, yeah, it was an interesting experience. And I wouldn't say, like, I have that with other performances, but I suppose I haven't done a performance, like I said, of this size of someone else's work where, because like I have about 8 pages of pure dialogue where it's just me kind of riffing because I'm my character's very egotistical and just monologues, right? And like I'm kind of I'm in a corrupt institution taking advantage of my boss who is corrupt because I see like essentially like I see it's like, oh look, there's weakness there, I'm going to exploit it. And like I just like I'm trying to almost like become the leader of the corruption
Mm.
while exploiting the people around me. And what's interesting is there's also just like levels to this guy because he's arrogant, he's egotistical, but he's smart at the same time. Because like everything that I say when I monologue, you can tell he's been watching everything go down and been a part of it for a very long time. So he knows everything by like the back of his hand. So it is like the moment that I step into this, it's a moment of it is of true egotistical confidence because it's like, no, I have you. This is like it's just like there's nothing you can do, and I know that. And it's a weird power shift within the story that essentially my character starts at, which is a interesting thing to explore as well. And yeah, everything else that I've played thus far, it's usually through comedy or my own writing. So I feel like I've played everything else to a degree with a little bit more of an earnest lightheartedness. Because it's like, it's coming from myself. I'm just being myself. Like Ryan and
Mm.
Cloud Van. I'm like, what would I look like if I really believed all of the nonsense I read online? You know? And I feel like
Embody
that's
that.
yeah, that's what I kind of embodied for Cloud Van. In Grilled Chicken, it was just I was like, what would happen if like I actually got really upset that someone wore a different color to something that I thought was important, right? Like it's just like silly things that aren't really relevant, and like there's nothing more to it than just like pretty base level conversation. Where with this, it's just yeah, I give credit to the writer director, writers I should say, writers director, for this story because it is a very well written story, and the characters have such deep rooted personalities that I think that's another thing too that it was easy to have this character embody me because the personality was so vivid And we had another thing too is I was casting this back in, I think it was June. So I've had from June till now to sit on this script and keep reading it periodically and memorizing it. So this is just months and months, which you don't get very often as an actor. So it was months
Hmm.
and months of actually building up to this moment of actually unleashing the character on screen. And it was interesting to not ever give it my full permission to become it until the cameras rolled. And it was, yeah, it's been an interesting experience, a very fun one, because again, it was fun to play, but it was the moments where the actors around me are going like, oof, because like this other actor, I give him a pat on the back, but I do it kind of aggressively, where I'm just like, I was like, yeah, look at this guy, he knows how to use his brain, and he comes up and he's just like, it's one where it's just like I felt bad for him, and at the same time, you have to laugh a little bit because the director comes up, and the actor's like, "Hey, can we not like tap me on the back this time?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I don't have to do that." And the director goes, "But it looks so good. Can you do it again?" And the actor goes, "Oh damn it!" And then so the second time I do it, I just don't do it as hard, and it's funny because then the actor says to me, he's like, no, no, you can't actually. For the third take, he's like, no, you can't actually do it harder. He's like, I just wasn't prepared for it. I didn't know you were gonna do that. And I told him too. I was like, I didn't either, because it was just like it was so in the moment. It just is what felt right in the moment. So just
Ah,
like the
yes.
choices that I'm making in the moment felt very organic and just flowed like water. It never felt like there wasn't, and like before each take I wasn't thinking to myself, I'm going to do this. It just was, I just did it once the character
Right.
once
It
camera
was
rolled.
subconscious because
Yes.
you've digested the elements of what that character is in terms of what he represents, what his values are.
Mm,
And then that automatically has a computation that takes place within the subconscious mind as to how something is going to be expressed because of those values.
yes. Yes.
So how do you do your character analysis? Like what do you look at? Are you looking at like what the character wants, what the character is trying to accomplish? What's that breakdown?
So when reading this script in particular, yes, it was very like I can't. I actually have signed a contract, so I can't give away story points, but I can say, just from that, like I kind of explained earlier, the dialogue of my character, I could break down the fact that this guy has been waiting for this moment for a long time. So it's just he's been the fly on the wall for a lot of conversations and a lot of backroom dealings of this corrupt organization. So once the opportunity was presented, and what's interesting too is, yeah, again through the dialogue, I see that because I bring it up. I've seen other opportunities and I didn't take them. There have been other moments where I could have done something and I held back for one reason or another. But when it came to this particular one, it was it was either I basically I help my superior once again and just get the job done, or I can exploit him and extort him, because this is one situation where, yeah, without me, you're done, because I have all the leverage. I have all of I have all the things that I could literally I can ruin him while getting away scot free.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to see the breakdown of, because I could have easily just played this like, oh yeah, just campy villain, but there was something to it. The more I read the script, the more I saw, no, there's something deeper about this guy. It's not just the fact that he's the villain of the story. He has been like the rune like yeah, he's been waiting so long for this moment, and I decided to play off of that more than playing I'm getting what I want. I played I've been waiting for this.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So you take into consideration the character's past wants and past experience, and you judge that based on the dialogue within the scenes to come to that
Yes.
assessment.
Yeah.
and then bake that into the equation for how you're going to respond to things. But once you've settled on a concept like such as he's been waiting for this for a long time, you no longer have to try and respond a certain way. The response happens automatically, almost subconsciously. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because I'm not focused on my line. I think, and that's a big one as an actor, because there's plenty of times that, including in my own work, which is where I do my most dialogue, where I'm thinking of my lines, and I'm
Hmm.
thinking, ooh, if I say my line like this, it will come off more funny. It will come off more aggressive. I'm thinking those
Yeah.
things. Whereas with this character, I can say this is the first time I've played a character where I'm not coming from what my line is. I'm coming from my inner motivation, which is a completely
Right.
different style of acting that as a performer in these last 2 days, I have relished in. I have enjoyed it thoroughly.
So to find your inner motivation, is that different on a scene to scene basis, or is that simply just getting to know the character kind of a thing?
Well, it was over the last 2 days. It was one scene, 3.5 pages, where it's me and my coworker going at each other, like because we both are trying to get what we want in this scene, but I know I have the upper hand, and but then she thinks she has the upper hand, and the other person she's working with comes and gives a third option that he doesn't know benefits both of us, but we both don't know that it benefits the other. So we always are thinking one of us is in the upper hand. It's a cat and mouse game too, of just think the one thinking like, "Oh no, this works for me,"
Mm.
and we just are like, when his suggestion is made, I go along with it, thinking, "Yeah, this actually works. This gives me the upper hand," not knowing she's thinking the same thing.
Ah, okay.
And
Yeah.
so when it comes to us, it's yeah, it's not even a. Here's the best way. Here's the awesomeness of it. My motivation wasn't coming from my own lines. It was coming from reacting to everyone else's lines. My motivations were shifting based on what others were saying. So my yeah, how I was delivering the line was coming off so much more reactionary than from
Mm.
internally of my own desire, which again
Ooh,
felt
okay.
very organic and grounded, because it, like when we were doing the scenes, it felt like I felt like I was having a genuine conversation. I think that was the
Right.
coolest part about this experience so far was, yeah, I never felt like I was looking for my lines. I felt it was very much just we're having a conversation, and my lines are second nature because I studied them so much, and everything that I'm coming from is pure reactionary from someone else. But like my reaction of the other person is it's like a true to life where however someone's reacting to me is how I'm going to react back. But and I had a fight or flight feel constantly going on, and because of the character I was playing, it was in a constant state of fight.
Huh.
Like because again, my motivation down to its even like most egotistical core is saying this is my opportunity I've been waiting for, and no one's about to ruin this for me. It's if it was such a fun day
Right.
to also, once I'm driving away from set, be like, wow, that just happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm very curious, and we got to watch some of the playback. It's interesting seeing my facial expressions and even little twitches or reactions. I'm going, who is this guy? Like, and not in the sense of obviously it's just like yes, it's Ryan, but wow, I see Bowman so much more so, and it's just like, yeah, I allowed this character to truly come to life in a way that I don't think I've ever done through acting before. And it's just
Right.
quite it's a little exhilarating. It's a little exhilarating and a little bit, like I said at the top, it's a little bit frightening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's a little.
Yeah.
Why is it frightening?
I think it's still coming from exhilaration. I think I'm just trying to justify playing such a skis.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
The. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Which
what it
again,
sounds like.
yeah. No, please, please.
What it sounds like to me, though, is you're finding a whole lot more freedom and leveling up in your acting, because now you're able to come from a place where you're not just mimicking the sounds as to what an actor would sound like if they were trying to portray something, but you're actually able to embody the actual state that that actor would be in given the situation. And it's more of a moment to moment basis where you're so present in the moment that how people are delivering their lines to you is affecting how you are going to respond, because you're so saturated in the present moment. Instead of thinking in your head, okay, what's my next line and how do I need to make it sound, right, okay, that'll work, and then waiting for when's the moment, okay, now's the moment, do it. That never
Yeah,
works. That only
yeah,
goes so far. That's a one-liner actor at best, which is as far as I went with it, because I never could quite get to that place of making it genuine by coming from an internalized subconscious place. I would always be looking to say the line and mimic the emotion that's necessary.
yes. I would say I've done a lot of my acting that way as well up to this point, and I can express some gratitude towards you, my friend, because to a degree, I think us doing this podcast and you discussing about the present moment and seeing in your mind yourself smiling, which then you're now even building off of, and seeing yourself in that other aspect of being grateful while you see yourself smile, and then be able to be in the present moment. There's something to that. I believe I have applied to my method with this character, because I think what all my internal reactions weren't feeling like it's like this is Ryan presenting the character. It was my internal reactions were Bowman. It was Bowman's reactions.
Hmm.
It was the like instead of seeing myself smiling inside my head, I was seeing Bowman. You know,
Oh.
it was
Oh
just
my.
it was that type of responding. And let me be very clear. I don't feel possessed. I don't feel any form of that type of
Right.
like ridiculousness. It
But it
just
just goes to
felt
show the effectiveness
the effectiveness,
of
and I think just the all around groundingness into the character. I could
Mhm.
actually I'll use Jim Carrey as an example, and because he talks about this a lot, where he says he's like, I've played Jim Carrey for so long, and he's been a fun character to play, but I think I'm tired of Jim Carrey.
Hmm.
And what he's saying with that isn't who he was who his general personality, but the persona he has put on through Hollywood when he steps onto a set. Everyone's like, "Hey, it's Jim." He's like, "Yeah, it's me, Jim Carrey," right? Like he's like that persona got tiresome for him, and he realized that he's like that even himself is a persona. Never mind the characters he plays, but he himself was the persona. And to a degree, I think I relate more to that right now than I have ever in my life, because it's not that I'm not tired of Ryan Meinecker. But it was the fact of, it's like Ryan Meinecker is, yes, my character I play in life because God has allowed it, and because someone has allowed me to be a different character, I got to shift into a different character in a, I will say, a healthy way, because I was doing it for the act of art. So I feel it as a healthy merger, and like we discussed before, I think I'm doing the right thing by the second it's cut. It's just like, get out of here, Bowman. Like it's just like that character is a very action cut type of character.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to the shift. I've never felt the shift while acting before, but I feel it with this character, and it's fun. Like I said, a little terrifying, but I think again, I say that in an exhilarating way, where it's just like I didn't know I could do that.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So
I
it's like a
remember
new
my
feel. Yeah.
I remember my first time in drama class, grade 8, and I was a super shy kid. I had a lot of social fears, so I didn't really do a lot of interactions, and I just did my best just to keep to myself, kind of a thing, and stay under the radar. But in drama class, it called out a different side of me because I'm also competitive, and I always wanted to be the best at whatever it is, the task at hand,
Mm.
whatever the competition is. And the competition at this drama class was basically improv games. And what the improv games called for was to be as ridiculous and silly as possible. And so that allowed me to just completely let go of my social fears
Mm.
and just embrace a completely different side of myself and just be completely outrageous. And it felt as though it wasn't even me anymore. And I loved it because the concept of me back then was very stifled, very constricted. And it didn't feel good to be that way because it's a very unnatural state. What's more natural is to be liberated and free. And so I was allowing myself to feel that liberation and freedom in those moments of silliness. And it no longer even felt like me because my construct of me wasn't really me at all. It was just a very constricted and, slightly suffocating understanding of
Preach.
who I thought I was.
Yeah.
So it's neat to feel that shift. And so where I see all of this going is there's this one verse, Ephesians 5:1, I believe it is, and it says, "Be imitators of God in everything that you do."
Ooh.
But that word imitators is mimetes, and in the Greek that is also meaning of actor, where we're meant to be an actor playing a role. And that role is imitating exactly who God is. And to do that, we have to know what God wants. So once we know exactly what God wants, what his objectives are, how he sees reality, we
Yeah.
can digest that on an internalized level. And no longer do we need to just try and say the right things or try to think about what the right thing is to do. But we can actually catch the vision in every given situation and then play that out in real time just like an actor would, but in a genuine way, because there's fake acting and there's real acting. The real acting is coming from that internalized place and truly expressing a moment that is genuine. Fake acting is what I was doing, where I memorized the lines and I tried to mimic the sounds and the emotions as to what I think would convey the message, but it's not from a genuine place.
You
It's
are
got to be
hitting.
genuine.
Oh, you're hitting the nail on the head. Because the one thing you said that I truly resonate with is, there was, I think for a very long time, because I relate to you. Just like in my younger years, it was the, like for myself, I'll label it as the lack of confidence. So there is something to that with especially within this industry, because there's a lot of rejection, right? Like it's trying to almost like validation and that confidence.
Mm.
When they said action, there was nothing coming from Ryan's insecurities or desires. It was just Bowman that was there. It was Bowman's desires and his arrogance and confidence. I didn't feel Ryan, which was such a liberating feeling. And that is, you really gave me something to ponder there, because you say like it's like, yeah, we're meant to act as God would. The very feeling that I had while embodying that character, if I did that through the emulation of Christ and God, that is fantastic. That is an interesting one. And that's, what, that's where studying the Bible truly comes into, oh, kind of a mind blowing fact right here. Because, like, reading scripture, if I treat reading scripture like memorizing a character, wow, that's quite the thing to do, is actually treat scripture as the script for the character you are preparing you for and
Yeah.
wanting to emulate.
Boom.
Boom. Wow. That's a
Ba-boom, there
fun
it is.
correlation. I like this.
And you know what? I actually went down that tangent a little bit a few years ago, where what I did is I took every single saying that Jesus is quoted in the Bible in saying, and anything that exposed a belief that he would hold or
Mm.
some kind of a perspective that he had, I would record that in a like a list. And then I would isolate exactly what his beliefs and perspectives are and values based on the things that he's saying. So in that way, it's basically creating a character analysis on a belief level.
It's
Because my idea was if I can identify exactly what his beliefs are
mm,
and I can look to install the same beliefs in me, it's the equivalent of basically installing the physical antenna so that I can catch his signal, his spirit, and then from there come from a genuine place of response as to whatever is appropriate for the moment, kind of a thing. But I guess my hope was to expedite my spiritual growth in becoming into his image and likeness by identifying the very belief system that he holds, and then being able to adopt that as my own kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what a persona is. A persona is what a person sees within the world themselves, believes about life, and then from that they come from their perspective of expression, and it becomes their persona.
There's something so beautifully uplifting about this, where you can build your persona.
Mm,
Like your persona is malleable. It's not
yeah,
actually solidified. And you can become something. Something that it's just still you. It's still your avatar, but you can be the persona that is truly reflective of God's wishes and path for you. You can emulate Jesus, you can emulate love and respect, happiness, joy. All of that is yours to emulate. And everything else is an illusion that you're allowing to take over. It's
yeah,
so
temporarily.
beautiful. It's a beautiful crazy. It's it, this is a fun one. You help me kind of like see something. I really like that. That's so fun.
Mm.
Oh, that's beautiful. I see your cousin's back. I'm sure you're hungry. You happy to call it here?
Yes, yeah, I think this would be a good time.
Wonderful, my friend. Well, I gotta say, this has been a really good one. This was a wonderful conversation with you, my friend.
KG3, absolutely. One of the better ones.
Indeed. LA5, have a great evening.
You as well. Talk to you soon.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.